Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Expert Interview Series program, where we connect with recruitment professionals and hiring managers with valuable and credible experiences to share their expert advice and tips to the job-seeking community. This morning, I have a pleasure of connecting with László Ujpál, career transition coach and a former talent acquisition professional. László, before we jump into our discussion, could you please share a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the introduction, Jana. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to share my experience. So yeah, as you mentioned, I have a career and a background in talent acquisition for about a decade here in Switzerland, working for headhunting firms, recruiting agencies, and then transitioning into internal talent acquisition roles as well in diverse industries. So finance, asset management, banking, and then finally consulting as well, management consulting mainly. And yeah, about 1.5 to 2 years ago, an idea popped up in my head that even though I loved recruiting and I loved my job, something was missing for me. And I was thinking about, reinventing my career a little bit and further progressing. So I decided to slow down a little bit from a fast-paced environment. And they say, slow is the new fast. So basically, this really helped me in order to get to know myself a little bit, get to know what I want, get some clarity in my head. And I went into the direction of coaching. What interested me about this is really having deep, meaningful conversations with people and help them or guide them during career transitions. So this is personal development, mainly personal transformation, personal growth. So this is a technique of self-reflection by getting to know yourself, learning more about yourself, and applying this into practice in order to change and improve and become better at what you do, or maybe have a more fulfilled and happier life. So basically what I do is help people get clarity in their career. And of course, having more confidence, resilience is also very important during career transitions. And with this holistic approach, I help my clients to bridge the present and the future and their vision.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the introduction, and really exciting to hear what kind of questions you help addressing, because this is one of the questions I had for you this morning. As in my interaction with job seekers, I find often that people are at a certain point, they reach the point of their careers where they know that they don't want to continue in their current roles or professions. However, they don't know what to do next or where to go next. And I was wondering, what kind of advice would you be able to give to professionals at this point on where and how to look for answers to these very difficult questions?
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing up this question. As you mentioned, yes, this is also something that I do also for my clients, but I can speak from my own experience because I have been there. So just wanted to acknowledge that if we have listeners or viewers currently in this situation, I wanted to just acknowledge that I know how it feels to be there. And it's uncomfortable, it's frustrating, it's draining your energy. But the good news is that there is a solution. So there's always a solution.
Okay, that's good to know.
So there is hope, and I want to be, like an inspiration that there is a possibility always to find the next step and find clarity. Maybe the bad news is, or not so good news is, that this is recurring. So just because you have clarity now, maybe in 6 months you get to a crossroad again. And I think this is a muscle that you can build in terms of like constantly asking yourself the question, like, what do I want? What is it that I want to achieve in my career or in my life? And I think once you build this muscle, that you constantly have this vision in front of you, what do you want? It gets easier because I think without having this clarity, without having this vision, it's almost like, imagine working for a company without a vision. It would be just like being at the same place and not moving anywhere, or not very focused moving somewhere. And this is not, of course, helpful if you want to be successful or if you want to be happy. Now,
I love this comparison to a company. Definitely, nobody wants to work for a company without a vision, without knowing where they're going with everything they're doing. So this is a nice way of putting it. Think of yourself as if you were a company. And
exactly.
and where should one start, while looking for a vision? Because I think it's a lot easier said than done. Think about what would you like, but I think a lot of people get stuck there. So where should they start?
Yeah, 100%. And I know it's so easy to ask, like, okay, what do you want? It's such a simple question, but ultimately the answer is very, well, not always so straightforward. So the advice I would give is that don't take any advice. It's controversial, or it sounds like a paradox, but the thing is that I know it's a very noisy word. Everyone is trying to help, or a lot of people are trying to help, and there is a lot of advice out there. And I think we just live in a society where friends are trying to give you advice, or your parents, or your colleagues, and the family. But ultimately, I know it also from myself that there's a lot of conditioning that we come with, from our past. But ultimately, what we need to do is listen to ourselves. So at least this is my experience, and this is how I help my clients as well. It's once you're really able to listen to yourself, what is it that you want, you can connect to yourself, these will emerge. So the answer is already within you. It just, you need to find a way to let this out and let this emerge on the surface. Unfortunately, there's no secret recipe, in my opinion, where I can just tell you, okay, so step 1 to 5, this is what you need to do, and then you will find clarity.
Definitely, that if it's easy, it's questionable. So I can definitely relate to that.
So the best way is asking questions. Either ask questions yourself or really get some help, get support. There's so many possibilities out there, and depending your personality or what you want, you can get a coach. You can, if you want to, really just build your future and your vision, you can get another perspective in terms of maybe therapy, like maybe someone is having problems from the past that is holding them back, and that can be also some help to release these energies, or maybe a mentor. So there are really different ways. And once you get the right type of support, or once you know how to ask the right questions about yourself, you can discover maybe your values. I think this is super important. So like, what are the values that you would be honoring once you are looking for a new role? So it's all about you. Listen to your body. So we tend to just think so much and do, but like, what about the being part? So like, what about maybe the body is signaling something to you? Maybe you have some signals that some pain or some any kind of recurring patterns in your body that are telling you maybe this is not the right thing that you are doing. And I know this is very deep, so it's very difficult to recognize or to acknowledge by yourself, but maybe just a bit of awareness to build up around this. What's happening when you do something, or when you're thinking about something. Also, maybe emotions and feelings. So I know it's not always the best or the right thing to do, but we always looking for, or at least I was always looking for, the right thing, or like the rational thing. But what if it's a feeling? What if it's an emotion? Like, oh, this step doesn't make much sense, but it just feels very right. This is how I was with coaching, like building up a company alone, never done this before. Didn't make much sense, right? But it just felt very right in my gut, in my heart. I just felt it, that this is the right thing for me to do. And
and you can tell. I think you can tell when a person is when they find their calling, when they are very happy in their field of work. You can feel. And I could also see from the previous conversations that we had, you can really see that you are really into it, you love it, and it's really energizing. So
thank you. Yeah, I feel it. I really feel it. So I'm glad that it's also visible. Yeah, so ultimately, just maybe summarizing, getting to know yourself, getting out of your head a little bit, believe yourself, trust yourself. So I think this is also a big element in it. And what I often hear is that once I have the clarity, or once I am confident, I will be able to make a step and this and that. But ultimately, this moment may never come in that sense, because this is a process. So once you connect to this feeling of like, okay, this is what I want to do, or this idea or this decision, and you just need to take a first step, and then things will fall into place. At least this is my experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I do have one follow-up question.
Yeah.
You mentioned a few professionals while sharing a few advices. You mentioned coach, you mentioned therapist, you mentioned mentor. I think a lot of people out there don't understand, let's say, the exact difference between these three type of professions. Would you share a little bit more, what each person, could do? What is the difference between each? And also perhaps, how to choose one?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. Thank you, Jana. So let's start with the coach, since I'm a coach. So the coach is really focusing on what's here now in the present moment, and what is it that you want. So what's your vision for the future? If you don't know your vision, of course, this is also a possibility to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then once you know you want to go from A to B, to be very simple, how do you bridge A and B? How do you get to that point? Because this is also the process that a coach can help you with, how to reach your goals, how to get there. And this by doing so at least my coaching style that I learned is all about self-reflection and asking questions. So I would never give an advice. This is not the coaching style that I do. I know there are some who do this, but this is all about connecting the person with their true self, and what they learn about themselves, put this into action. So this is very abstract, but I think this is maybe in a nutshell a good way of explaining.
No, it makes sense. So you're helping the person to find answers within themselves, which already lie there, without kind of providing external input from your experience, but guiding them through questions. Totally makes sense.
Correct, exactly. And when we speak about therapy, so there's a very clear distinction that therapists deal with, let's say, customers or clients who have, let's say, a challenging situation. So it could be depression, anxiety, and they would be looking for the root cause. So it's like an explanation for stuff from the past, and coaching would be an exploration about the future. Right?
Okay, that's okay. So therapy is more looking at the past, the root cause, and working through that, while coach is focusing on the future and how we get there.
Exactly. And then therapy is also about healing. Yeah. And then of course they are trained to do that. And while coaches are more focused on, let's say, healthy individuals and focusing on the future. And then the mentor, well, I think this could be maybe someone at work or someone similar in your position who can also give you a little bit of an advice. And it could be a combination of coaching and advising or consulting. Honestly, I don't have so much experience with mentoring, but this is my understanding. I don't know if you, what do you think about that, or if you have ever had a mentor?
I did have mentors in my professional experience, definitely. Well, the difference I find with mentors is that they are the ones that actually share a lot of advice and share a lot of insights and inputs from their own experience. And personally, when I advise my clients as well to look for mentors, because I think a combination of mentors is always great, because people have different experience, perspectives. So it's really important to take advice from several people that went through the experiences that one is looking for. And it's usually the people that kind of been in the shoes of a person, and they share their journey, practical advice, and give guidance based on their own experience. That's in my experience, that's let's say the difference between mentorship and coaching part.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I do have another difficult question for you.
Okay.
Tell me if you encounter the same. So when I start working with job seekers, I realized that people are struggling to identify and articulate their achievements effectively. But in reality, it is an essential puzzle in the success of job search, because this is how you sell yourself to the employer. This is how you differentiate yourself from other candidates. This is how you show your capabilities and skills to the employer throughout the whole process. And what I often hear is, I don't have any achievements, or I don't know what my achievements are. But in reality, every professional, even if they are in a junior role, starting their career, even if they're in a support function, all of us have great achievements in our professional journey. So my question to you is, what kind of advice would you give to job seekers that are struggling to identify and elaborate their achievements while they're searching for a job, or maybe in promotion conversations? What advice would you give to them?
Okay, also great question. Thank you, Jana. And I fully agree with you. Everyone has achievements and strengths. Again, coming back to what I said before, getting to know yourself better, and find out what is it that you are good at. So the very first question, if somebody told me this, that I don't have any achievements, the very first question I would ask that person is, what's important to you about expressing your strengths or achievements? Because there is probably a life scenario where they need to do that, or that where they want to do that. They are just maybe shying away, or there is a voice probably in their head telling them you don't have any achievements. I think this is, we call it in coaching, it's a saboteur that is maybe a previous self trying to tell you that no, you don't have any achievements. And of course, there's a process of dealing with this voice that I don't want to go into detail with, but let's take what's important about, expressing this. So maybe they are in an interview, maybe they want to get a new job. So connecting the person that it's not about showing how great they are and being overly arrogant, because I think this is what a lot of people might think, that this is how they appear, right?
They're shy. They don't want to come across as arrogant, and they think, oh, I don't want to, make too much buzz about myself. So definitely.
Yeah, this is my, I mean, of course, there could be other reasons as well, but this could be maybe just as an example. And just a reminder that we are all unique. We have all different experiences. There are no same people on this planet, two same people on this planet. So just because somebody is good in XYZ, maybe another person is good in other things. Yeah, so this is why it's not arrogance. It's just simply being proud of who you are, what is it that you are capable of doing. And maybe just once there is a switch in someone's mind to understand that this is just basically going towards their vision. And here again, maybe connecting this to the previous question, once you have a vision, once you have clarity about what you want, it will be, so much easier to say, yes, I am expressing my achievements and my strengths because I want to get to point B. So then it already seems like you are doing this for yourself and not for somebody. So I think this could be a good start. Again, there is no recipe here, but maybe a playful exercise that I could give to the viewers. Give yourself a challenge. So take a pen and a paper and write down 30 things that you are good at. Sounds a lot.
Also because it's writing down, not just thinking.
And then see how it's going. Maybe if you are already at 20, then I think it's going very well. So for sure you can find 10 more. Or if you're struggling with just finding 5, don't beat yourself up. Just then stay with 5. And then ask yourself the next question. Do I believe this on a rate of, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much I believe that I can do this? And then if you're really honest with yourself, then, if you really think you are good at this, then you will rate yourself high on it. And then it might be it might move something within you that, oh, I'm actually good at this, you know, so why am I shying away from this? So at least just get an exercise. I mean, it's not, again, it's just an example to try.
No, it's a very good one, and I think it's especially important to do this exercise, perhaps for people that went through a layoff experience, because in this way, maybe some people struggle with articulating their achievements because they have this internal voice where they're not sure about, you know, what they're good at, what they've done. But then on top of that, you also have kind of external voice asking you to, you know, to be let go. And I think it's an additional complexity, and adding on to the problem of not being able to identify where you're actually good at. Thank you, László. And another question I have, just wondering, so these are the, let's say, questions that I come across often in my conversations with job seekers that, let's say, very relevant, I would say more relevant to the coaching space. What are the, let's say, most common problems or situations that you encounter with professionals, let's say when it comes to career coaching, professional world?
Yeah, there are several scenarios because, you know, as mentioned, everyone is different. Everyone is having a bit of a different experience. But I think these are very typical questions or challenges that people are experiencing, in my opinion. What other things are, for example, finding work-life balance. So I think, you know, people struggle to find this right balance, how much time they want to spend at work and with their family, how to combine this. There can be something very private related, because this is what I do is also like very holistic. So it's not just focusing on the job, but focusing on the whole person. So if something is bothering you in your private life, it has an effect on your career, and the other way around as well. So this is why it's very good to look at everything in your life, what's happening. Other than that, I have clients who feel like they already have a vision. They know what they want deep inside, but there's just too much noise out there. You know, social media, this, that, and how to quiet this noise, how to focus on what you really want. So this is also something that I come across. Maybe going from a bit of an insecure role or an insecure feeling towards leadership. So I'm currently having clients also working on these. So that could be really
a number of things.
A number of things, and it's all about, like, you know, personal development and personal growth, because once you grow, I mean, not physically, but once you you grow into the role that you want to become to, the problems or the challenges become insignificant.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I was curious to hear those questions, to understand kind of what kind of challenges a coach can help solving to individuals, because I think again, people don't realize that there are certain questions that they can get answers to with the help of others. And last but not least, let's say if I were to, you know, to look for a coach to, you know, to find answers to some of my questions, what advice would you give to job seekers of how they should select a coach? What kind of, let's say, criteria would you recommend looking at? What kind of questions would you ask? So let's say when it comes to selection, or professional, what advice would you give?
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Here again, I would ask the same question. What's important to you about having a coach? So what do you want to achieve with a coach? What do you want to get out of this relationship? And once you have the answer to that, coaching is very, very a people business. And this is really based on a connection. So I would say ask someone who has maybe similar experience to yourself. Try to set up maybe 4 or 5 interviews. You know, coaches are, I think everyone I know, they are very happy to have a complimentary call up front just for half an hour or 15 minutes or 45 minutes. And I think that's already enough to get like a personal chemistry with the person. And it's important, I think, in a coaching relationship for the person to see you, who you are. So you have to have this kind of connection that the person really almost sees your soul. So they need to support you in their plans and what you want. And there's a third element that I think is very important, that you need to be challenged, because ultimately this is hard work, and you need to be up for, investing in yourself, because it's time, money, and effort. But this is where growth comes from. And I think if there's a coach that can, or at least these are my criteria, and if that's like a good mix together, I think it can be a very fruitful conversation or collaboration.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I think we tackled some really important topics today that normally, you would not think of as first when it comes to job searching. But in reality, it is the first question that you have to ask yourself to get clarity on where do you want to go, why do you want to go, why do you want to go there, what you don't like about your current situation, what feels good. So thank you so much for sharing all of the insights about explaining a little bit more about the coaching world. And I'm wishing you all the best with your business, with your coaching practice, and see you around.
Thank you, Jana. I wish you also all the best. Thank you again for the opportunity, and I hope that I could give some value to our viewers.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.